Good morning.
Good morning. Happy Monday.
Some very important holiday today.
Memorial Day.
Memorial Day. So that's an important day. And we have an important message today about mindful mornings.
Yeah. So it's a good morning to be mindful, I think. So I just rolled out of bed 10 minutes ago. So I have my brain's still sleeping. So when he looked at me, I was like, well, that's all I have to say. Good morning.
And I've been out playing with the Newfoundlands, throwing balls and running around. So I'm a little more awake.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, so one of the really interesting things is it doesn't take very long to be mindful. You know, one of the things that could be a morning routine. So we're talking about mindful mornings today. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that could be a mindful routine is when you wake up, before you get out of bed, before you do anything, just take a deep breath, take a nice yawning, stretching breath, mm-hmm. and say thank you. Start your day with gratitude. Or have a specific word, whatever your word is, whether it's peace or love or joy.
Coffee.
And then that's another piece. Maybe you have just a tiny bit more time in your day. You know, for many of us, we're used to hitting the floor sprinting, right? And so that just that 1 second before you actually get out of bed can be all you have. But mm-hmm. sometimes that's enough just to have a mindset about first thing in the morning. Mm-hmm. If you have a little bit more time and you do get to have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea,
mm-hmm. Those are my favorite mornings. I always feel like it just sets a different tone for the day.
Then I wrote a blog about coffee, although I think coffee is vile swill, even though she's drinking it right now. This is mm-hmm. tea. I wrote it.
And he made it for me this morning.
I wrote a blog about coffee as mantra. So, what do you do with coffee? Instead of just reading the paper and slurping it down on the side of your mouth, you hold it and you experience it in a deep way. You smell it, you taste it, and you be present with it for a moment. So that's another possibility. Another possibility is if you have even just a tiny bit more time, maybe you can incorporate your spouse into your morning routine and you do what the Maori call the common breath. Maybe you just put your forehead and your nose together and you just take a breath together and start your day with some unison. Mm-hmm. So there's lots and lots of things you can do
to start your day with mindfulness.
To start your day with mindfulness.
How do you start your day with mindfulness?
So
I know the answer. I'm testing him. No, I'm just teasing.
I get up in a frenzy.
No.
I meditate. Almost every morning, mm-hmm. I meditate for usually about 30 minutes. And I have a thing I walk through. So I start with the idea of I live in a state of wow and wonder and awe. And that leads to gratitude and grace. So grace, we think of grace as something that comes down upon us, but having grace for ourselves is really important. Mm-hmm. And that grace, that wow and wonder and awe leading to gratitude and grace inspires me to be generous. Mm-hmm. And that leads to joy and love. So that's the first part. The second part is I live in a state of abundance. Now, abundance doesn't mean you have a bunch of stuff. That you're greedy. Abundance means enough.
And more than you need.
Yeah, and Thoreau said, I made myself wealthy by limiting my wants, right? So abundance, and I have abundance of healing. Every aspect of my life is healed. I have abundance of wellness. I have physical, mental, emotional, social, and spiritual wellness. So remember, healthy, wealthy, and wise, right? So the next thing, that was health, wealth. I have abundant personal, professional, and philanthropic wealth. And then lastly is wise. So I have abundance of wisdom and discernment, because abundance is a tremendous gift that should be used wisely. So that's sort of my returning mantra. And then what will happen is, as I'm meditating, I will drift into what I call the beatific abyss, right? Just this beautiful floating abyss. But I'll be like mid-sentence, right? So I'll be like, I live in a state of wow. And then I'll come back out of the abyss, as we do, as we start to think about something, and I bring myself back to wow, and I go, oh, I live in a state of wonder. And then I'll drift off, and then, oh, I live in a state of awe.
So it's kind of a self-guided meditation.
Yep, it's a self-guided meditation through a process that just helps me feel centered. And you should find your own words and do your own thing.
Yeah.
But what do you do?
And then the next thing is very important too that you do.
I go play with the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you go outdoors every morning. He's outside with the dogs right away in the morning after he meditates. And
Rain
it doesn't
or
matter.
shine,
Yep.
snow. Doesn't matter.
10 below.
Yep.
Raining. He's always outside, and he just dresses appropriately. And I just think that nature is such a good way to just naturally bring yourself into mindfulness states and to ground yourself.
And there is no one more present than a dog. They don't give a shit what's going on in the world. They just want to
going to get the ball, and he comes back, drops it in front of his feet,
healthy, all happy, all excited.
Throw it again.
Yeah, and
it's really sweet to watch.
And the two Newfies, they take turns. They one brings it and I throw it. The other one runs and gets it, brings it back. So they're playing. They're amazing animals, and they remind me to be present because they're so present. Are you awake enough to tell us about yourself?
Yeah, so for me, mindful mornings, I'm not always a mindful person, that too, but I'm not always a morning person. Sometimes I am, and I really like this morning. I was up at 6 and the sun was shining and I could hear the birds, I could hear the loons. And then I went back to bed, and that was really silly. But
I just saw a mosquito go in the house. I'm going to shut this screen. There we go.
And then there's mosquitoes. So, but typically, if I were to look at a goal for a mindful morning, and that I do practice sometimes, is I definitely do try to meditate. For me, meditating in the mornings is a little bit harder. I naturally will fall back asleep even if I'm sitting up. So,
Speaking of Newfies, I don't know if you can hear them in the background, but they hear me, so they're decided to call me.
So yeah, mine starts with some meditation, and then typically I'll go and get my cup of coffee, and I'll sit on the couch. Sometimes I'll sit outside on the deck and watch him play with the dogs. And mindfulness is just about being present. So I'll go wake up my 11-year-old. Do you see Newfie staring at us?
No, I can't see.
I'll go wake him up and get him excited for the day. I try to get him excited for the day, like good morning, and open the curtains for him, and it's going to be a beautiful day. And so my mornings are just about trying to be present, not run around like I have a million things to do, which I do typically have a million things to do, but just bringing presence into the moments. Oh, we got a boat coming through.
Boat coming by. Boy, it's a big morning this morning. So,
it is. It's not a normal Monday, so.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Except for you introduced it as Memorial Day, but I forgot.
I think, and the reason why this is so important, and we really wanted to end our Mindfulness May on this is because it really does set a tone for the day. And you can, start your day with a lighter, more present tone that really does carry through the day, and it just helps you to more easily take those other mindful moments that we've kind of sprinkled through the month. So the mindful walks and mindful meals, it really just brings about a different awareness when you can be intentional, especially right away in the morning. And whether it's, doing some meditations, just practicing mindfulness, journaling, spending time with your loved one, sipping your tea or coffee.
And these little tiny things that we talked about, like, just having a word, you can do that throughout the day.
Affirmations, yeah.
If you have if you have a word, whatever your word is, peace, you can just bring that to mind and take a leisurely breath and just exhale the tension, right? There's a sign where we live in New London, and going to Wilmer, there's a sign, and it says, "Just breathe and the stress will go away." Mm-hmm. And it's true, right? On some level. I mean, it's not 100%, but if you take a nice cleansing breath and just think of the word that really centers you anytime during the day, not just in the morning, it can be very helpful.
Yeah, even right now, I can just took a deep breath with my eyes closed, and I can hear the birds chirping. And
this morning, this isn't a rare weekend. We don't have anybody at the house with us. Usually, we live with
lots of people.
Depends on the day, but between 6 and 8 people, and 5 dogs, and all kinds of insanity. And we don't have anybody here. So what do? We stayed up too late. We got up too early. So this morning was it was a little challenging to get out of bed and play with the dogs and all those things. But nonetheless, it happened. And but it's just sort of a metaphor for life, right? We're not that bright. We don't go to bed when we should. We don't do all the things we should do.
We haven't watched TV in months, and we decided to watch a Netflix series we liked last night. So we might have binge watched a little too late, which is why the covers were over my head this morning. Yeah, I know. It's like, we can't end it on that.
So this morning I was up, as we already talked about, and I don't drink coffee. I drink tea, but I made coffee, and I brought in the cup and sat it next to Elizabeth, and she just sort of sipped one sip, and she goes, "Ah." And I said, "Oh, the addict gets her drug."
Way back down. Oh, it's hard getting up this morning. Like I said, it's because I was up at 6. I always feel like if you wake up in the morning and you feel awake and refreshed, if it would have been a normal Monday, I would have just gotten up because that's my normal time, but it wasn't. So I let the illusion of, you can go back to bed, and then I'm like half asleep and groggy, and yeah.
And I've got a different alarm. I have Newfie's barking. Where the heck are you, dude?
Well, it's a tree. I thought my hair was sticking out there. Look at this beautiful tree. Like, I feel like the sunlight from the other side is like kind of illuminating it. It's kind of our centerpiece.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Fortunately, you can't see our jumbled pile of kayaks over there or the boat lift, but there is a beautiful cedar tree right there that I love. Mm-hmm. If you remember Game of Thrones, it looks like the tree that the three-eyed raven was stuck in, the man who was the three-eyed raven.
I've never watched that show.
Oh, well, anyway. All right, well, don't want to take up your whole morning. It's been 15 minutes. We're trying to hold these to about that much time. And even though we have lots more to say, we won't. Mm-hmm. So it's a beautiful day. Try to get outside. Try to inhale. And have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Bye-bye. See if I can find the right button.